going on, y'all? It's Saints Built coming back at y'all with another great video, and today we're going to be changing some brake pads on the Mazda 6. Let's get into it. This is the 07 Mazda 6 we're going to be working on today. Front pads were starting to wear down, so instead of going to a shop and paying a mechanic, we're going to do the job ourselves and save ourselves some cash. Let's do it. For this job, you'll need new brake pads, caliper grease, impact or tire iron, a drain pan and a funnel, caliper piston tool or C-clamp, jack and jack stands, a breaker bar, torque wrench, socket set, some tire chalk, new brake fluid, brake cleaner, a mallet, and some wrenches and some gloves. Before you start, make sure the car is parked on a flat surface, the parking brake is on, and crack the lug nuts loose before lifting the car. Don't remove them fully, just break them loose while the car is still on the ground. Even if you don't have an impact, you can still take off the lugs with a tire iron, but an impact is preferable. Once the lug nuts are loose, you're gonna go ahead and jack up the car from a safe lift point. Always use the jack stands and never rely on the jack. Safety first, every time. Of course, that means we gotta put the chocks and obviously give it the shaky shake test. Can never forget the shaky shake test.
Shaky shake. Sometimes tires get seized on that, man, so you just...
After taking the lug nuts off, go ahead and take the tire off, and it's going to reveal the brake caliper and the rotor. Now we have access to the brake pads.
So we're going to be taking off this pin bolt and this pin bolt right here. Going to call for
14mm socket. That right there is the brake caliper. The pads sit inside the bracket and squeeze against the rotor when you hit the brake. If you don't know much about cars, the rotor is a big metal disc. Caliper holds the pads, and the pads are what actually create friction to stop the vehicle. Once the caliper is loose, don't let it hang by the brake hose. Set it on top of the suspension or support it with something so there's no tension on the line. Next here, we're going to be taking out the slider pin and inspecting them for quality, making sure we don't have to replace them. Now we can go ahead and slide out the old pads, and this would be a good time to compare the old ones to the new ones, make sure they match up, and put everything back together. Before we go ahead and switch out the pads, we're going to go ahead and do a further inspection on our pins. And with further inspection, they came out to not be good. So we're going to go ahead and get some new ones on there.
Can't even see the middle part. This one. So here we have the new pads, y'all. Old pads.
This is exactly why we're replacing them. Once the material gets low, braking performance starts dropping, and you don't want to wait till it's metal on metal. Before putting on your new hardware on your brake calipers, hit it with a wire brush and clean it up with some brake cleaner, and put some grease on the contact points. Make sure not to get any on the rotor itself or the pads. If your brake pads come with new hardware clips, now's the time to swap them in. These help the pads slide smoothly and prevent noise. If your old hardware is still in good shape, you can reuse it, but new hardware is always better when it's included. Right here, I'm opening up the brake master cylinder cap, so when you crack the bleeder valve, the brake fluid comes out easier.
Make sure you have your drain pan positioned well.
What you want to do is break your bleeder valve first. Before the caliper can go back on, we need to compress the piston.
Careful where you're aiming that bleeder valve, because it's going to start to squirt. Hook your piston. Boom. You tighten the bleeder valve. Boom. That's how you do that.
So here I'm just applying brake grease to the caliper pins.
Let's press this one.
This is going to help them slide in and out, and it's going to maintain the life of the pins.
So we're looking bolts. Them up by hand first, and then we're going to torque them down to 18 to 20 foot-pounds. So once you got these tightened by hand, go ahead and get your wrench. Also get the torque wrench, adjustable wrench.
If you have the torque specs, torque everything to spec. If not, make sure it's snug and secure, but don't overdo it. After finishing the pads, you want to also go ahead and bleed all 4 brakes to push out any old fluid or air in the system. The correct order is usually starting with the wheel furthest from the master cylinder. Rear passenger, rear driver, front passenger, then front driver. Keep the brake fluid reservoir topped off the whole time. Bleed each brake caliper until clean fluid comes out with no air bubbles, and make sure the pedal feels firm before driving.
So I'm gonna go ahead and torque these lugs down to about 80 foot-pounds. Alright, so once you get your new brake pads and you do the brake flush, you're gonna go ahead and do a brake test. You're gonna get it going about 40 miles an hour.
Then you're gonna go ahead and slam on the brake.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
We're gonna go ahead and test them one more time, but this time we're gonna go ahead and do it from 25 miles an hour, and we're gonna go ahead and ease into it this time.
3, 2, 1. Get you a nice little test. Then your brake job is done. Alright, y'all, this was a Saints Built tutorial on how to do your brakes. Go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe for the next tutorial, y'all. Catch you on the next one.